It's Sable, back for another video. You read the title, so let's jump right in.
あ、なんだ。
血圧低下。
輸血準備。聞こえますか？名前わかりますか？話せますか？
あ、死ぬのか、俺。まあいいか、どの道人生積んでたからな。でもせめて童貞くらい卒業したかった。
I recently finished my rewatch of Mushoku Tensei Season 1 in preparation for Season 2, and it has quickly shot up to being one of my favorite anime of all time. And there are a myriad of reasons why, from the superb pacing and world building to the intricate deep dives on common isekai tropes, and being graced with stellar animation and music. Every episode, it becomes easy to see why this is one of the best anime of 2021. While there are several incredibly deep topics I want to discuss with more focus about just what makes this series so special, especially when compared to its peers, I want to use this video to tackle a specific subject that stood out to me. I've had the pleasure of seeing the glory of great storytelling from the perspective of an audience member. And while I believe my ability to analyze writing to be great, I'm willing to admit that what I knew before pales in comparison to some of the stuff I know now, having started trying to write seriously for myself. Now on the other side, I see what authors and writers go through when trying to express their point in their stories. I see what the author of Mushoku Tensei has done, and I understand why I am genuinely impressed with his work. What I'm talking about is their willingness and courage to dive headfirst into sensitive subject matter. Whether you realize it or not, many writers are afraid of writing controversial material, fearing that people won't find it palatable or that they'll misunderstand the intentions behind their inclusion. Regardless, either consciously or subconsciously, writers will present their concepts without the or simply avoid them altogether. Which is a shame because I feel certain subject matter needs to be tackled with high levels of care, and Mushoku Tensei does just that. Many times over, you've probably seen a Middle to Dark Ages time period that was fairly tame. The same as today, just with more horses and more princesses. Not Mushoku Tensei. Children are openly and actively pimped out to their other prestigious houses to maintain control of the land. The children may not know what's happening, but their parents do, and that's all that matters. Kidnappers and poachers and slavery galore. Unrepentant, sexy times, regardless of who sees or hears. On that note, not only are you considered adult at 15, but an 8-year-old boy is openly allowed to take women younger than himself to bed. As long as he doesn't get them pregnant, that is. These subjects, varying between differing moral standards to the poetically embarrassing, aren't haphazardly thrown around just for shock value. They have real emotional, character-specific, or narrative-specific weight. While some moments are comical, they don't exist just for comedy's sake. I mean, it's impossible to separate our 30-something-year-old shut-in, now in a child's body, from a certain phrase when he's performing his inspections of the female protagonist, and Mushoku doesn't want you to remove the context. If you did, it would rob the character of the type of growth and change he needs in order to mature in this world. Never have I ever thought I would one day watch an anime where, in the beginning, this scummy bastard, having reached the end of his long journey, is finally given the chance to bed the woman he's loved for the majority of the series, and he takes into context the situation they're currently in and turns her down. I remember years ago laughing out loud at just about any stupid gag or joke that Kazuma from Konosuba would pull. Now, here I am years later, watching Rudius from Mushoku, who would have leaped headlong at the slightest whiff of an invitation, having gone on this long journey with this girl, being emotionally vulnerable to one another, and facing several life and death encounters over the course of 2 years. Now, getting into the nuances of sex. Yes, I'm attracted to you. Yes, I want to do this. But knowing everything that's happening to you right now, it's probably better if we don't. At least for right now. Then, multiple episodes worth of shit gets ripped away from me in less than 5 minutes. Yeah, that episode was painful. Like, why? Why? I mean, I know why, but why?
Why? Why? Why? Why? Why?
Don't even get me started on one of the best episodes of the entire season. Imagine for a moment that a natural disaster the size of multiple states rips and uproots everything in its wake. And you awake stranded in a foreign land. You spend the next 2 years journeying with no way of knowing what happened to your family, only to finally come face to face with one of the first faces you remember from your time as a toddler, your father, in rather embarrassing circumstances to boot. You look relatively okay, and he looks absolutely broken, just a shell of a man. You see his pain. You want to ease his suffering, if only a little, by lying and telling him that your journey back to some semblance of civilization was all right, and he does not take it well. He accuses you of being selfish and uncaring. Confused and backed into a corner, you fire back about him being a pitiful drunkard. Now you're both screaming, calling the other person's integrity into question before blows start getting thrown. In this moment, Paul has no idea what Rudius has really been through, and neither does Rudius to Paul. They miscommunicate their knowledge or lack thereof because they are two incredibly flawed individuals, and those flaws are made perfectly clear at the tail end of their meeting, when Paul finally tells Rudy the truth. And the first person Rudy asks about is a girl he knew for a few years and not his own mother, forcing him to confront the truth about his own desires and motivations and where his priorities really lie. Look, I don't want to belabor a point too long. If I did, I would spoil too much. Mushoku Tensei is a must-see, instant recommend, and I needed to make this video with Season 2 a few months away. Normally, I just say whatever came to mind first, but this time I really wanted to explain the bravery the author has for digging into the nuances of these very flawed characters, telling stories that I feel rarely get told. And to do that, I couldn't approach this casually. I wanted to break down why, for me, Mushoku Tensei is really that good.
一言で言えば、一番尊敬している人です。Lion!